Hey everyone, let's make fermented salsa together. This is one of my favorite things to do with summer tomatoes that are coming in so that I can have salsa almost all year long depending on how much I make. Plus you're creating probiotics at home. So this is called a ferment. This is probably one of the easiest ones because you only leave it on your counter for 2 days and then you just go ahead and put it in your fridge. And it's really juicy, so you can drain off some of the juice. It depends on what you're going to be using it for. But you're going to chop up lots of tomatoes, and this is going to be dependent on what size of actual jar that you are using to store them in or to ferment them on your counter. Today I'm using a 1/2 gallon jar. So we're just taking a bunch of tomatoes and we're dicing them up to whatever size it's going to work for you. We're also going to chop onions, and in this particular video I forgot to chop peppers, but I did the next time, so you can put peppers and onions in there as well. You're going to have mostly tomatoes with a few onions. I just like to slice and dice right there. Somebody just stole a tomato. You see that? That was funny. Alright, so whatever size that you want, dice them into. And I'm just capturing all the juices, especially from the tomatoes, because you need to submerge all your solid things there underneath the liquid. So you want to make sure you keep all of your tomato juice as well. So that's why I'm scraping after every tomato, so I gather every little thing, every little droplet. All right, now we are just chopping up the garlic. I'm just putting in two cloves that were just dug from the garden in July, so they've started to cure. They're pretty hard still though, but they're fresh eating garlic, so it's great. So I'm scraping it into the bowl. I decided to do some more tomatoes just so I could get the jar a little more full in there. Again, make sure you're scraping in all the juice. Discarding any of the bad parts. You don't want any of that. And then I'm using a jalapeno. This one jalapeno does not add much heat to me. So this next batch that I did, I added 3. But it's up to you if you decide to use them. It doesn't really matter. Neither does the quantity or like how much you actually add of each thing. It's more like the salt and the fermenting time on the counter. So I added several teaspoons of salt with my very handy measuring hand. And I just kind of let that salt help bring out more of the juice as well while that stuff was sitting there. And then give it a good stir. Lovely stirring there. I used my knife. You can use anything you want to use to stir it. Then we also need to add in a lime. And so you squeeze the limes. My best way of doing limes is actually buying them, washing them, freezing them, thawing them, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. Thawing them whenever I want to use them, then I don't have to go to the store, remember to do it. And then I do this with lemons, and it squeezes so much more juice out of the actual lime or lemon. So that's my favorite thing to do with limes and lemons. And then I always have them on hand. I just go pull them from the freezer. You can put them in a bag. And then here I'm just going ahead using a funnel. And it's easier to use a bowl that has like the little spout to guide that in there. And I'm getting all that juice and all those goodness of those fresh veggies from the garden. And then I use my hand, but you can use whatever you want, but to push down all the solids below the liquid because you want them all submerged. Most ferments, you need to have them completely submerged without anything sticking out. But with tomato or with the salsa, it's only on my counter for 2 days, so it doesn't bother me that it's going to do that. But longer ferments, I like to make sure that I use something to keep it hidden or down below.